For tonight?
I'm rooting for everybody black. I am betting on black tonight.
Lovely. You look great.
Welcome to CodeBlaqueFacts, where we talk about all things black to include news and viral videos, mental health, self-love, self-care, self-development, black women issues, crime stories, and black history. If you are interested in any of these topics, please subscribe to my channel, like, share, and don't forget to comment below. Thank you.
Say it's a black thing, run deep in the roots. Blacker the berry, baby, the sweeter the juice.
Hello everyone, thank you guys for joining me here with CodeBlaqueFacts. I appreciate you guys and love you guys. It really saddens me to have to report on this particular story as it relates to a young man who basically killed the mother of his child, then he killed himself. And all of this happened in front of their small child. I mean, the little boy can't be no more than 3 at the most, but he actually did it on Facebook Live. So he took his life. Everything was on Facebook Live. Of course, they have taken down the video. I was able to grab a little bit of the video. And so I'm going to play the video here. I also want to talk about mental health in the black community, particularly as it relates to black men, because this is a black man that has yet again committed murder, suicide, and has done it on video. So let me just go ahead and get right into the video, and then I'll come back with exactly what has been reported. Okay, so actually before we get started, I do need to make this trigger warning. This video will trigger you. This video will have, emotions that will rise up within you. So you have been warned. Again, this video is very triggering. It's very heartfelt. It is a video that will be hard to watch. In the video, he actually shows his little boy, his son, in this video. And so you have been warned.
No, have somebody come get my son. He in the house with me. No. Yes. Hey y'all, I just want to say I'm sorry. This is gonna be the last day everybody hear from me, bro. This is gonna be the last day y'all hear from me, bro. I'm sorry. There's just been too much going on. She did. Police right there. Somebody come get my son first. This not finna end well for nobody, cuz. Yeah, so I've been dealing with a lot, but to justify my actions, bro. I've been dealing with a lot. I just need somebody to get my son. Sorry, y'all. I'm just ready to die, bro. Just ready to get this shit over with. I'm already shooting at the police and shit and everything, bro. It's over with. It's over with. It's over with. That's a whole body right there, bro. I'm not the right person, bro. Me mentally, like, I've been through too much. Just come get my son first. Yeah, because y'all, nothing. Y'all finna have to kill me, bro. Because I'm going to shoot at y'all. So y'all might as well finish. I'm not finna shoot right now. Come get my son first. Matter of fact, just wait until his parents come. Y'all finna have to kill me. I'm not killing myself, bro. Because I'm ready to go. We done talking. Didn't I just shoot at you? We done talking. Straight up. Just come get my son, bro. That's it. Everything after this, we can just get it cracking. Straight up. I've been being played with mentally, all type of shit, bro. I'm not straight, bro. I'm not crazy. But it's a lot of shit I can't take, bro. Hold on. Tell them motherfuckers I've been dealing with shit. This attention to everybody, bro. If you have a nigga around you or anything like that, bro, be mindful of what these niggas be going through, bro. Don't nobody like to be mindful of that shit, then be playing games with a motherfucker, bro. So, bro, it's already over with. Police all through this bitch. I ain't killing myself, though. That shit over with. Alright, come on now. Yo. So, like I said, I'm sorry, bro. I be trying, but shit just don't be good enough. This was my outfit that I wanted to get buried in. Nice little jacket. I know he do, but he got good grandparents. Yo, y'all, Egypt, huh? Shit. Yeah, baby. Egypt, here. Come here. Egypt. Here, man. Come on. Egypt. Come here. Watch yourself. Okay? Here. Watch yourself. Here. Here, Egypt. Get you some food, huh? Lord, I know you had me so many times. And I'm sorry I couldn't. I'm sorry. I know you give your strongest battles to your strongest angels. I failed you and everybody else. Please continue to watch over my son as he live his life. And I pray best for his mama and her family. In Jesus' name, I pray, amen. Please forgive me.
Okay, so I want to start out by, giving and sending my condolences to the families of the victims. He actually killed the mother of his child, and then there was a 31-year-old Caucasian man that was trying to intervene, and he was killed. There was another man that was 36 who was shot in the leg, and then there was a 20-something-year-old woman who was also trying to intervene, but she was unharmed. So he basically killed 2 people, injured 1, and he killed himself. So, but I do want to go ahead and read a news article because right now the police department have not released a confirmed name or anything like that. And I don't want to, get myself in any kind of trouble for confirming stuff that has not officially been confirmed. But as you guys can see, that was him in the video. That was the actual video. But again, I don't want to get myself into any legal anything. So I'm going to read a news article. And so I'm going to read the news article, and then I'm going to go back through the video. And basically, we're going to talk about mental health in the Black community. And I have you guys, I have a lot to say about this because, it's very heartfelt. It's very sad. However, One thing that stuck out to me was he kept saying that he went through a lot and that he's been through a lot. And this is the thing, you guys. I think sometimes we lean the hardest on the people who are the closest to us, the people who we're close to, and we expect for those people to be our counselors, our mothers, our caregivers, our whatever. And, regular smuggler people are just not trained in that. If you're dealing with any type of mental health issue, don't look to prayer. Don't look to the church. Don't look to your girlfriend. Don't look to your boyfriend. Don't look to your teachers at school. Go to a mental health professional. I cannot stress that enough. In the Black community, we have it bad. We tend to think that there are things that we can pray away. As you guys could see at the very end of the video, he was praying. And clearly, prayers have not been able to help him. They probably help him emotionally. Don't get me wrong. I believe in prayer, but at the end of the day, it's faith without works is dead. That means that you put the faith in, but then you also work. You put the effort in. And we fail to understand that. And so I also want to break down the science behind it as well, because this young man was 26 years old. And, the brain does not fully develop until the brain is about 25 years old. And that's a brain that is, I don't want to use the word normal, but that's a brain that hasn't been through excruciating things in life. That's just kind of like, a brain that is, functional, a brain that hasn't been through a lot of trauma. But if you've been through a lot of trauma, that can push the development back some years, which by his own account, he's been through some things in his short 26 years. 26 years, that is not a long time. That's not a long time. But let me go ahead and read this article, and then we'll come back with the commentary. And I do want to ask, and I know I say this a lot, but, I want people to feel comfortable in the information that they can get from me concerning mental health, because again, this is a field that I worked years in. This is a field that I have experience in. I have an undergrad bachelor's degree in psychology. I have a master's in clinical counseling. And so, this is my field. I know about mental health, particularly as it relates to the Black community, because that was my niche. My niche was working with Black children, Black families. Okay, the organization that I work for, Black children, Black families. Okay, so this is my niche. All right, so let me go ahead and read the article. Okay, so it says, this happened in a place called Brown Deer, Wisconsin. The young lady that was killed, which was the mother of his child, her name was Ariana Reed. Okay, so here's the article. Ariana Reed's brother, Aaron, moved away from Milwaukee. He was afraid to start a family in a violent city, but it was the gun violence he fled that led him to rush back home after learning something terrible had happened to his sister. It's like a hole I ain't ever going to be able to close, said Reed. According to Reed and his family, Ariana's ex-boyfriend and father of her child shot and killed her at the Park Plaza Apartments where they lived in Brown Deer. Family says she was there to drop off her 2-year-old son, Egypt, so he could still spend some time with his father. Police have yet to name the suspect in the shooting or any of the victims, but the suspect's brother confirmed to TMJ4 News that man's name is Lavelle Hudson. His family did not give further comment. According to police, the suspect shot and killed a woman during a domestic dispute. Police also say the shooter shot and killed a man and injured another man who police believe were trying to intervene in the dispute. Dozens of police officers from multiple agencies responded to shots fired at the apartment and surrounded the building. The suspect shot at officers from a second-floor balcony, but no police were injured. At some point during the standoff, The gunman, police believe, shot and killed himself. Aaron Reed said when they were young, he always looked out for his sister, and now he'll do his best to speak for her and live for her. She was the life. She was life of the family, said Reed. Anytime we came together, we always looked to my little sister to keep the joint going. According to family, Ari, as they called her, was studying to be an RN. They also said she ran a small design company. To know her is to love her, said Reed's uncle, Guy Reed. I'm going to miss her very dearly. Mr. Guy Reed said his family is at a loss that the gun violence in the city has touched their family. For it to hit home like the way it's hitting home is diabolical. It's really diabolical. It's really diabolical. Sorry, you guys, I keep getting tongue-tied. We are hurting so bad, said Guy Reed. According to Ariana's mother, Tracy, Ari loved her close-knit family. Together they'll now be raising her son who lost his mother and father this weekend. Anything he can possibly need and want in life, he can always call me. I'll always come back home in a heartbeat, said Reed. Not having a father in his life is going to be tough, but we're going to be there for him. And so I don't know if I mentioned, but the young lady who was killed, all of this went down in front of the baby. So, it's very sad. And as you guys could see in the video, he was speaking to the baby. And it's funny because the baby name is Egypt. And that's just such a beautiful king's name. And it's just like, this baby is 2 and he's already lost both of his parents. So let me get into some of my commentary. Okay, so I want to break down some of the points that he's made in the video. One of the points that he said was that he said to be mindful of people and their feelings and stuff like that. And again, I got to go back to, when it comes to our own mental health, we cannot look to family members who do not know anything. They can't help you. They are not professionals in the field. And I have to tell people this all the time. Like when I had clients, I would tell like mothers that would bring in their children or their daughters or, family. I'm like, when you leave here, when you leave my office, once you leave my office, it is on you to make sure that you're coming back, to make sure if you're on medication that you're taking your medication. You can't look to somebody else. Now, if it's a kid, of course, that would be the parent. But if it's an adult, I tell them straight up. And it can be very hard because a lot of times you're telling a person who is mentally unwell to become mentally well enough to where they can kind of keep up with, because there are certain situations where they're just not able to keep up with stuff like that and they actually do need help. But again, when it comes to when we're in relationships or we're in partnerships and stuff like that, we're looking to the other person to be able to understand us or to help us on a level where the only way that you can really truly be helped is if you seek out mental health. And that's another issue within the Black community because, like I said earlier, we tend to think, many of us, not all, tend to think that if we, just go to church and pray really, really hard, that it'll just go away. Right? We tend to think that if we just, change up, a way that a belief system or something like that, then the mental will just go away. It does not work that way. Depending on what it is, it could take years. It's a lifelong thing. And like I said, it depends on what the disorder may be. And it's becoming more and more evident because, again, we're living in a society where there's another group who dominates the society. They dominate what goes on with the laws. They dominate what goes on with the schools. They dominate what goes on in every aspect of life. So I say what I've always said, all black people have some type of mental issue. It's just that some of us are able to cope better than others. Now, this kind of goes into the whole, how the mind develops. The mind doesn't develop until you're about 25 years old. This young man was 26. And the portion of the mind that develops is called the prefrontal cortex. And that's the part of the brain where it's decision making, it helps to control impulsive behavior or impulsive actions, rationale. All of that is in that front part of the brain. And if it doesn't develop until you're 25 and you're just 26, and that's developing as in like you haven't had much trauma. So if you are a child and you grew up with a lot of trauma, then it's going to take you longer. It's going to take that portion of your brain longer to develop, because you've been through some milestones in life that has hindered that development, right? Drugs. This brings me to another thing. So I never forget when I was in my undergrad degree and I was getting my undergrad degree, and I had a professor, Dr. Tunji was his name, and I will never forget, we were talking about mental health and talking about whether or not, it was like a little debate in class, right? And before we had even read the chapter on it, we were talking about whether or not mental illness was genetics, right? And of course I raised my hand and I said that it was. I said that it was, and that it just depended on the severity of it. And I truly believe that it was genetic, because I have known a lot of people who mental illness ran in their families. And I know, like, when you would go to the hospital or you would go to different places, they would always ask you if you had a history of this or a history of that. So I just went out on a limb and said that it was genetic. So anyways, we come to find out there are 3 ways that a mental illness, that someone can get a mental illness or have a mental illness come into play. One way is mental illness can be induced by drugs. So if you do, certain drugs, it knocks off the chemical in your brain, and you can have a mental illness from that, right? You can obtain that one from that. Another way is it's drug induced, and then it's genetics. All mental illnesses are not passed down through genetics. There are some, but many are. And then the third one is life-changing traumatic incidents. So you can have a life-changing traumatic incident, like, if somebody was to R you, R-A, you get the rest, right? If someone was to R you, that is a life-changing traumatic event, and that can throw you off and put you in a spiral of certain mental illnesses that may, take part, like anxiety, depression, so on and so forth. So those are the 3 ways. And because of that, that's why I always said that many of us, we, particularly in the Black community, we're walking around with untreated, undiagnosed mental illnesses. Right? There are even research that says that the majority of people are walking around like that. But since this is a channel that talks about the Black community and Black people, I'm going to refer to it in our group. And so we probably have a case where he was walking around with untreated, undiagnosed mental illness, probably never went out to get anything, but he just knew or felt that something was off. And it could have been just, a lot of times when people have like this emotional roller coaster, they feel like something is off. When they have anxiety, they may feel something is off. When they're, it's just different things where people can kind of tell that something may be off, but just never seek out the help, right? Maybe lack of resources, so on and so forth. Which also brings me to my next point about the, as it relates to the Black community. What I see, or what I've seen when I, worked in that community as a therapist, was that when you put together a person that is unemployed, so they have no job, no way to have any income. They're not motivated. They have no support, and it seems like nobody cares. They lack an effort to, do anything about whatever issues that are going on, right? And then there's like a sense of carelessness. That's a very dangerous mixture of characteristics or factors that can cause what we saw. And like I said, can cause what we saw. A lot of times when people go there, they feel helpless, they feel careless, they feel like they've done all that they think that they could have done. They feel backed up against the wall, and they feel like that's their last option. And particularly as it relates to black men, there is an extra pressure, a mental pressure on black men because, a lot of black men are unemployed. A lot of black men are having a hard time being able to cope with their feelings or even speak about their feelings or even having a safe place to do that. And what ends up happening is that they internalize it and then they walk around with it, and it builds and builds and builds and builds. And then the littlest thing may set them off. A lot of black women are, faced with the same thing, right? A lot of black women are faced with the same things. And so it's very important that we understand how, how mental health is, it is running through our community I wouldn't say unnoticed, but it just seems like nobody's doing anything about it. And that brings me to my next thing. If we're going to do something about mental health, it's going to have to be us. We can't wait on the government. We can't wait on a whole nother group outside of us. It's going to have to be us. Now, what I will say is that I think black men, and I've said this before in previous videos, black men need to build something for young black boys and other black men. There are just things that men go through that only a man can handle and explain that women, we can't just help. We can't help. And if those places and spaces are going to be built, black men are going to have to build them. You cannot look to the black woman to do that. I repeat, you cannot look to black women to build mental spaces, places for you. Black men, you can't do that. Because there are things specific to you that only you know, that only you go through as a black man in this country. There are going to have to be other black men to do that. Because I do know that when it comes to black women, there are spaces and places that have been built by black women for black women, or for everybody really. But, they're led by black women. Black women have taken on, I'm one of those women. One of the reasons the foundation that I work for was a black woman who built it. It was at a HBCU. We work with black families, black children. It was a black woman. And I would say half of my clients were young black girls and young black boys. I had just as many young black boys as I did young black girls. But as when it came to adults, I have to be honest, it was black women. It was not black men. It was hard to get a black man. I never forget. I had a few where I needed to have a family session with the child and the father. And that was a very, very hard thing to do. Because those men believed that they didn't need it. Like that the child was just going through a phase and that they didn't, it wasn't that big of a deal. And that was not true. That was not true. So again, if something is going to get done about the mental health within the black male sector, the black male society, black men are going to have to do that. So I don't know what that would entail. I can give some tips. I think Charlemagne the God does do a really good job about talking about mental health as it relates to just mental health generally, but also within the Black community. But I do notice that, when he have his little functions and stuff like that, it's women up in there. It ain't no men. It be women running that. And I thought to myself, maybe he should get some men, because maybe if he had more men that were kind of like the face of it, then maybe it would promote other men to do it. But then I look into like the rap industry and I see all these men who get older, like Jim Jones, Kirk Franklin, like all these Black men who, are older, and they're able to say, hey, when I was a kid, this happened and it affected me in my adult life. And I'm like, man, these men could get together and be powerful. Powerful. But we can't keep watching this type of thing go down with young Black boys and young Black men, and nobody's doing nothing. And we're just constantly just talking about what coulda, shoulda, woulda, woulda, woulda. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, woulda, woulda after the fact don't help. So I just wanted to say, run that through. What else? Did I have something else? Okay, and so lastly, before I go out, there is a lot of anger, misdirected anger, pent up aggression that Black people in general have, because we feel like we have to be strong, like we can't talk about it. I do notice, like, when people do come out and talk about certain issues, they're made fun of. They are basically, talked about and ostracized, and I noticed that. And it's not done by people from the outside. It's actually done by Black people within the Black community. I've seen that with like Will Smith and Jada when they talked about certain things where people, made fun of them. I've seen that with even Charlemagne when he came out and talked about his issues that he had. People made fun of him. Kanye West is another one. I can go, the list goes on. And this is why so many people, when they see, that it's not taken serious, if they say anything, they're going to be made fun of, they're going to be talked about. So they just say, oh, well, I'll ignore it and think, and it just go away. I'll ignore it, go away. And I can look at people, I can have a conversation with people, and I can automatically tell a lot of times when they're going through something mentally. Not just going through something like in life, like general things, right? But going through something mentally, because I can feel it. I can feel it. And there are just certain body languages that they may do that will tell me that. But before I leave here, I do want to stress, you guys, if anyone is listening or whoever is listening, if you're going through something, there are free 1-800 hotlines that you can call and talk to someone. If you need to get help, I mean, there's places where you can go online, and I will post some stuff in the comment description where, all you need is $25, and, you can talk with someone. I would also say, reaching out and getting a life coach is a good thing too, because even though a life coach, they may not be able to help you mentally, but a life coach is a good support system. They're a good person that can help keep you accountable, help talk you down. And just having somebody that you can talk to that's not going to pass judgment, somebody that's neutral, right? Because, sometimes even in our families, we feel like we can't go to mama because we don't want mama to worry. We can't go to big mama because we don't want big mama to have a heart attack or something. Like, we don't want to show our real true feelings because we got to put on for the kids. We don't want the kids to see our hurt, our pain. I get it. But at the end of the day, if you want to be good, you've got to first be good to you. If you want to be good to your children, you want to be good to your wife, your husband, your significant, whoever, you want to be good on your job, in your career, you have to take care of you. And that means taking care of your mental your mental, anything that you may have mentally going on. All right, guys, that's all I have to say. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, check out the comment section. What are your thoughts? What do you think about, the video? What do you think about this whole incident? I forgot to share some of the statistics, but I'm sure there will be other times I can bring that up. But until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Also, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you. Bye.